What's up guys, I'm randomfrankp, back with episode 40 of Room Tour Project, the series we show off the best setups. Now I'm thinking we're gonna have a theme for this week, and let's go with simple, single monitor setups. I'm a big fan of these simplistic ones, I know a lot of you guys are too, so let's go with that with this week. And you guys know the routine as always, we have some awesome setups to show off, so let's start off episode 40.
First up, I'm really liking the feel of this one here. Has these nice earthy tones to it with that background, the wooded desk, and the tons of natural lighting here. But it's really simple. That is a Dell U3415W monitor, a nice 34-inch ultra wide here. Again, on that nice wooden desk. Into some of the peripherals for his audio game. Got the Audio-Technica ATH MSR7BK headphones on a nice headphone stand. The Mica Origin amp and DAC there. And his mouse is the Logitech Proteus G502. Then into those keyboards, a fellow keyboard enthusiast here, we have a Roosevelt Arcade 9000 BRI with brown MX switches and carbon keycaps, a Disco keyboard with blue MX switches and the Midnight keycaps, and then my favorite is the Poker 3 with blue switches, and he has those nice cool blue gradient keycaps set on top. And on that mouse pad, it's the Tech Mat with some sort of like, blueprints on it. They're pretty popular, but altogether for the peripherals, definitely killing it here. And you take a look altogether, it's pretty solid cable management given all the stuff he's got going on behind the desk. You can see he's using the IKEA Signum for keeping those cables off the ground, managed and organized, so great job for that. Into his PC specs, he has the Intel i7-4790K on the Asus Maximus 7 Hero motherboard. Graphics card is the EVGA 980 Ti classified. 16 gigs of Corsair Dominator RAM inside of the Corsair Air Carbide 540 case. Overall, just really nice and simple setup here. I love that great wooden desk. Got some Star Wars pop figures for some personality in this setup. I just really like the style of this one, and definitely +1 for that keyboard selection. Next up into Jason's basement setup here. Really love the minimalistic approach with another awesome wooden desk, a single ultra-wide monitor, and of course a nice green plant is always one of my favorite touches in a setup.
Wow, it's very nice.
His monitor is the LG34UM95, and for the gear we have the Corsair K65 RGB keyboard, and for his mouse he has the Logitech MX Performance mouse, and he actually has a hole drilled into his desk for his keyboard cable, and paired with that wireless mouse, there are no cables in sight, so great job on that. I really love that oak IKEA desk here, and with the two connected for the L-shaped setup, it gives you just tons of room as a workspace, and I'm a huge fan of the way it looks. And here we have the Moto X 2014 smartphone with a nice leather back. This guy has some solid taste in his aesthetics. And as you can see, since we said this is in his basement, he also has a nice chill kind of man cave space set up behind him as well, with his TV and entertainment setup. Unfortunately, we don't have really any PC photos, so I'll just read off the specs which he's rocking for his setup. He has the i5-6600K CPU, the Asus Z170i Pro Gaming Mini ITX motherboard, 16 gigs of HyperX Fury RAM, the GTX 970 graphics card, all inside the Fractal Design Refined Mini ITX case. Overall, just great minimalistic setup here. The aesthetics are on point, and I feel like this is really a productive workspace given all that room and its nice, simple, chill approach. Moving from the basement in the last setup now to the attic. This attic battle station looks really nice and cozy. The aviation theme here is prevalent, so it's nice to see some of his hobbies come out here as well. Into the gear, that single monitor is the LG Flatron 27-inch 1080p monitor, straying away from the ultra-wide theme we've had in the past few setups, but it looks really nice in this particular setup here. Peripherals are the Razer Blackwidow Chroma keyboard, and I just reviewed the Blackwidow X Chroma keyboard yesterday, shameless plug, and his mouse is the Logitech MX Masters mouse. You can see some of the audio equipment here as well, like the Alesis M1 MK2 active speakers. The DAC is the FiO E9 plus the E7 combo. Headphones are the AKG Q701, a really great pair of headphones there in that nice noticeable neon green. And that DJ controller is the Hercules Instinct, just the cherry on top for all this audio gear. Again, this PC isn't shown, but for the specs, he has the Intel i5 3570K CPU and a GTX 670 graphics card. All throughout the room is his passion for aviation. It had tons of quadcopters on display, the remote controlled gear and helicopters, the poster behind the monitor there, and it all definitely makes this setup unique. And it's really just an awesome space for a setup here in this attic. You got tons of natural light during the daytime with those windows, and I would love to have this kind of dedicated space for a setup. Really great job making this room unique, personalized, and memorable. Now this setup is definitely different than your typical battle station. In fact, I've only had one other setup like this ever before on the show. This battle station is inside of a converted closet. This setup makes the most out of this gaming room with tons of gaming paraphernalia and related things around that will make any gamer feel at home. First up, that monitor he's rocking is the LG 29UB55, a 29-inch 2560 by 1080p monitor. For the peripherals, I spy the Corsair K70 RGB keyboard, coupled with the Corsair K65 RGB mouse. The love for Corsair doesn't end there. As you can see, he has the Corsair SP2500 speakers with some Star Wars figures there right in front of it. And into his PC underneath the desk, inside that Corsair 250D case, is an i7 6700K CPU, 16 gigs of Ripjaw RAM, an EVGA 970 graphics card with some Corsair liquid cooling, and the H100i CPU cooler. It's the little things in this setup that really give it character, like the Pac-Man coasters just lying around the mouse pad, not only to give his black setup some needed color, but they actually serve a purpose if need be. And going along with his love for Star Wars, he has some awesome prints and posters hanging up on the wall. And behind his desk setup is the rest of his gear for his man cave. You can see all of his console stuff like the PS4, a Vita, a Wii U, a Surface Pro 3, the Logitech 5.1 speaker setup on the entertainment console here, with the highlight being that limited edition 20th anniversary PS4. You can kick back and play some games on that 55-inch Sony TV with some nice backlighting and just enjoy. And as I mentioned, just more gaming stuff around the room that totals for a sick setup. It's not as simple as some of the other ones we've shown off, but that isn't really the purpose of this room. This is a dedicated gaming room that is a whole other category of setups, but since it has a single monitor, I really wanted to just show it off and give it some deserved love. This setup's kind of breaking the rule of single monitors only since he has that overhead display mounted up top, but hey, what the hell, I'm the host of this show, I still want to show it off. So first things first, right above his monitor, you could see that laser cut, eat, sleep, play inscription there. He said that's for reminding him who he truly is. I think that's pretty funny. But when you get into his desk setup here, taking a look at it, I think it's pretty nice. Into his gear, he has the LG Ultrawide 25UM65 monitor. Got the Razer Blackwidow Tournament 2013 Stealth keyboard with an A4 Tech X710F mouse, he said. And that's on one of those Razer extended mouse pads there. Into his headphones, off to the side, he has the Superlux HD681 and those Creative A120 speakers. And just some other gear off to the side like a controller and a spare mouse just in case. Little side workspace there to get some homework done and stuff like that. But one thing I really like are these custom shelves he has mounted above his desk next to that monitor. He has a PS4 and a DVD player on there with some LED lights to kind of make it pop. I think it looks really cool and it's a nice take on a shelving unit. Taking a look underneath that desk, again, pretty decent cable management here, not too much being exposed, but he's got one of those IKEA Signums keeping those cables up and off the ground. And speaking of off the ground into his PC, you can see he has it propped up so it's not on the floor. Gonna be better for the airflow on the inside, won't be as dusty so it's not sucking up all that dust on the ground. When you take a look inside, he has an i5 4690 CPU on an ASRock Z97 Extreme 3 motherboard, 12 gigs of RAM, and a Gigabyte GTX 970 graphics card. And taking a look behind his setup here is a nice chill little socializing area. He can kick back and relax on the couch and use that overhead display there above his monitor, play some games on that, watch some TV, play some Xbox. Altogether, I think it's a really cool setup. It's very different, that black and yellow striped wallpaper. I think the whole eat, sleep, play thing is pretty funny. But simple monitor setup for his main desk display. I'm not going to count the overhead here as a monitor, even though it technically is. But I just like this setup. I wanted to include it because I think it looks really cool and it's unique. And lastly, keeping it really simple and clean is this crazy minimal setup. We have that single Acer monitor in the Acer H236HL BLD 23-inch monitor here. a Cooler Master CM Storm Quickfire TK keyboard with brown switches inside, a final mouse on a blank Zowie mousepad. You honestly can't get much more simple than this. But what I am really in love with, and what makes me want to replicate this build just to have a mini ITX build that looks as nice as this, is his PC. This is the EVGA Hadron ITX case. It looks sick, and inside he has the Intel i5 4690K CPU with a CryoRig CPU cooler there. Something about that fan's aesthetics with this case just looks awesome. It's also got 16 gigs of G.Skill RAM and an MSI GTX 960. I really like this setup here, and there's no better way to end this by showing off a setup that is the simplest of simple.
Alright guys, that'll do it for episode 40 of Room Tour Project. Hope you enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to show your support by going crazy on that thumbs up button down below. And also make sure to check the description. I'll have a ton of the product links that you saw in this video. So if you saw a keyboard or something you liked, I will have it in the description down below, as well as very simple instructions on how to possibly submit your setup to be considered for a future episode of Room Tour Project. Feel free to hit me up and follow me on Twitter at randomfrankp. Very active on Twitter, so you can definitely hit me up on there. And lastly, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss out on any future episodes of Room Tour Project, as well as all the crazy awesome tech reviews coming up real soon. Well, I'm Random Frank P. Hope you enjoyed episode 40 of Room Tour Project. Have a good day.